Follow SportsView London.
Shane, thanks for talking to me on SportView London. So tell me about David Haye's next fight.
He's got a guy called Arnold the Cobra. I don't know how to pronounce his surname, so I'm not going to do it, but he's 29-0, 21 knockouts. He's 6'5". He's from Kosovo, but he's based in Switzerland. So he's been in the Klitschko camp sparring. They've always got him back, and clearly he can fight. He's been in sparring with Tyson Fury in one of his camps as well. So he's done a lot of his learning in the gym. He hasn't had a chance to showcase his skills on the main stage, but that's probably because of the fact that he is from Kosovo, and he hasn't got the chance. So once this chance presents himself, like what David's given him, I'm sure he's going to give a real good account of himself. But he's going to come on stuck against David Haye.
How did this process making go with regards to choosing David's next opponent? How involved were you, and how involved was David?
We both cleared it, and we both had a look at everybody that we could sort of find, and we had talked to a few people before, and the fact is that everybody sees David Haye as a big money man, and they're going to get millions and millions of pounds. But whilst he's fighting him, but he's fighting on terrestrial television. He's not fighting for a lot of money. This is the stage of his career where he's coming back. He's pulled out in the past a good few times in his career. He is he wants to give a little bit back to the fans, and he also feels like he needs a couple of fights to get the ring rust off, get used to fighting at a slightly higher weight. And this is what we're doing. This is a process. It's not a one fight going to jump in, going to try and steal a heavyweight world title when we can for a load of money. He's committed to this process. He's been in the gym pretty much since he took a little break after the Demori fight. He's just been in taking over, and then as soon as Carl's fight, we started proper camp. So the Shannon Briggs of this world, the guys that have got names and that come in and scream and shout, they just want a payday, and payday is not their payday. It's just not. It's on terrestrial television. It's fighting on the O2, but it's not going to generate the same sort of money that Shannon Briggs thinks it is. And it's not like America where you fight on HBO, where you fight on these channels that aren't pay-per-view, but they still trump up a load of money. It's just not the way it works over here. If he wants that sort of payday, he's going to have to wait until one of them have got a title, or one of them have a big television company on their side. And I don't think Sky Box Office now, that the likes of Anthony Joshua's fighting Charles Martin, and then Sky Box Office will want to fight. They'll want to televise David Haye versus Tyson Fury, or David Haye versus Charles Martin, or David Haye versus Anthony Joshua, or these big fights that David can be in. But I don't think Shannon Briggs is in that sort of repertoire.
You mentioned that David's been back in the gym since around the time of Carl Frampton's last fight. How much of his sharpness, timing, and sort of speed has there been since he's been back in camp?
I mean, as I said, we never allowed him to get into the same sort of shape he came in for when we first started getting together and working together. So it's we just sort of he was I'd say 60-70% sharp, and clearly unfit, but his timing wasn't that out, and his speed wasn't out. Just his lungs really, just his fitness. So it's nice to see. It's nice to see what we can pick up. We're not starting from scratch again. We're continuing, and I'm getting more and more convinced that he's going to beat everybody. I really am. I'm getting more and more convinced, and it's a bold move, and everybody's going to say, "Oh, you're only saying that because you're training him," but I believe he's going to beat a lot of these guys, and if not a lot of them, I'd say all of them. But he's just got to get himself in the position, and the opportunity has to present itself. And whenever it does, David Haye will take it with both hands, and I believe he can beat them all.
How much footage have you seen so far of Arnold the Cobra since you agreed to take the fight?
Well, we've seen him against Baktov, who's got beaten by Anthony Joshua. Got stopped. I think he got stopped on his feet. He's pretty durable against Joshua, and the fact is that he went 10 rounds and won it quite easily. And what I've seen of him, he's quite quick. You know, he's quite quick mover, big lump, weighed 112 kilos in his last fight, and clearly punched because he's knocked out 21 of 29. And you know, he's I know for a fact he's great in sparring, but whether he can do it underneath the lights, I'm not sure. But we've got to prepare for what the rumours of him in sparring, and they're good rumours that he can really fight. So we've got to prepare for that.
But David's last fight lasted less than 3 minutes. Would you have rather the fight lasted a little bit longer and David been able to get some rounds under his belt? Do you think that he'll be able to get that in this fight?
It's kind of a catch-22 with his last fight, because you clearly wanted it to go long, or get him a few rounds, but at the same time you wanted him to look spectacular and bounce back onto the scene. And he completely obliterated Mark Tamori, and when he hits guys, they stay here. They don't get back up and fight on. He just puts people to sleep, and it was kind of like I was a bit disappointed at the time, because I wanted to show what we've been working on, but at the same time, he did what he had to do, and I think Arnold the Cobra is gonna he's gonna take him definitely a few more rounds. I think he's gonna be quite negative for the first 4 or 5 rounds. Try and box his ears off. But as soon as he stands and fights, he's getting taken out in a bad way.
Just to touch on another one of your fighters, George Groves, fighting next weekend. How's he looking in the gym at the moment?
Really good. He's been sparring Nick Blackwell. He's for 3 weeks before Blackwell's fight, and he also sparred another one, Gary Lockett's great prospects, a guy called Alex Hughes. So these are all good fighters, and he's been doing really well. So everything's coming along nicely with George. Yeah, it's going to be a nice steady process, because some of the governing bodies, although he's a massive name and does serious tickets and does serious numbers on TV, for some reason they just don't want him to fight for their titles, because I don't know, maybe the champions are threatened by him, but I believe there's still a lot to come from George, and we're gonna take April 9th just as another stepping stone and get through that and look spectacular winning it, and then possibly get. I mean, these things move all the time. You've got the WBO being fought for the same night with Ramirez versus Abrahams. The winner of that, we could always take that. Dick Carollas is the regular champion. You've got Sturm, that's just the WBA super champion. Apparently he's going to retire, so if that becomes vacant, we'll have to get ourselves, maybe fight a mandatory to get into the final eliminator, to get into the position to fight for that title, or to fight for the vacant title. We've got James DeGale that is going to be fighting Badou Jack. Bearing in mind they both come through on the week after George's fight, so it's constantly moving and turning, and Callum Smith's on this weekend as well. So. But they're all fights that I'm confident that George can win, and but we just have to just sit and wait, and you can never put your eggs in one basket in boxing, because suddenly you go down one route, like with Carl we knew Kiko Martinez wasn't going to fight Frampton at the time, and we tried to jump ship and we fought for WBC final eliminator, and then suddenly Leo Santa Cruz had he had 2 voluntaries that he was allowed to get away with, because he had his first voluntary within a time frame and the second voluntary. So it was just, they're constantly changing and turning. So we went back for the IBF title. So it's just one opportunity, one door closes, another one opens, and we'll just keep our eyes out for the best route for George.
So you believe George is ready for a world title fight now?
100%, yeah, 100%. I think he's proved that he's been at that level, lost in a split decision to Badou Jack. I believe if we got that fight again, he'd beat Badou Jack. He's beaten James DeGale, who's the IBF champion. I believe he can beat him again. Bold comment from me, because Leo's looking great at the moment, but I still believe he can do it. And I wouldn't be training him if I didn't believe he could beat all these guys, because he has to believe he's world class and the number one, and your coach has to do exactly the same, and I truly believe it. I believe that he can beat everybody.
Just to finish on one of your other fighters, Carl Frampton, obviously had that sensational win over Scott Quigg. Any news on
that will be coming out soon? Yeah, okay. I think everyone knows that there's talks of Santa Cruz, but nothing's signed and done yet, so we've just got to wait, and hopefully we can get a fight like that over the line. If not, there's mandatories in Chinga weight, and there's obviously Rigondo as well. I don't know currently what's going on with him after Jazza Dickens. situation, if he's able to get a visa or not. So once again, there's lots of obstacles. There's also Nonita Donaire, who's fighting for the vacant WBO title. So there's loads of fights out there. Hugo Ruiz as well, WBC champion. So we're not going to, hopefully we can get this next fight over the line. If we can't, we'll be on somebody else.
Shane, thank you very much for joining me.
Cheers.
Follow Sports View London.